that incorporates all stakeholders, civil society, the organized labor, youth movement, the media, Nigerians in diaspora, and so on and so forth. The continued dialogue between government and this critical mass of the population is the needed driver to push for a regime of good governance. This dialogue will create the unity of purpose to confront manifest and potential obstacles to good governance. Obstacles such as official corruption, widespread insecurity, youth restiveness, social inequality, energy inequality, gender discrimination, ethnic and religious divide, climate change, national economic vulnerability, and infrastructural deficit, etc. The support for government policies and programs that will be harvested from these mass organizations is the nucleus that will birth a new Nigeria that serves the interests of all. Our government will build governance institutions and rules that are not just efficient, but also fair, and that are developed through a democratic process in which we all have a real political voice. We shall insist on the democratization of economic opportunities, the social betterment of the people, and a strong social welfare system for the good people of Nigeria. Thus, this manifesto entitled Our Path to Unity, Peace, and Progress. It addresses cross-cutting issues of democratization, national security, economy, development, infrastructure, governance, women development, and youth development. It represents a broad policy roadmap on the basis of which our government shall proceed to locate Nigeria on the path of national transformation, restructuring Africa's largest democracy. In the immediate period preceding independence, all projections by experts and laymen alike were unanimous that Nigeria was in no time going to emerge as the numero uno of Africa and black nations, considering its abundant and rich land full of choice natural resources, all-season element weather, and a cultured people reputed for their proud histories, hard work, resilience, and penchant for excellence and achievement. That this dream has remained largely unfulfilled owes much to the collective failure to manage our diversity and use it as an asset rather than a liability. Our failure to create a nation out of the mosaic of ethnic, languages, and religious groups that make up the country, that our failure to understand and reconcile our differences and inevitable conflicts that arise therefrom. Our major task as a government will be to change the story. This we shall do by means of enthronement of a regime of good governance, fashioning and implementing programs and policies that will precipitate and accelerate national reconciliation and national healing, build genuine and enduring trust among and within the people, resurrect and unleash our fine African values onto the social fabric, as well as take concrete steps that will foster national unity. To achieve this, we shall establish a commission for national reconciliation and national healing with the task to identify, document, and amicably resolve all issues and conflicts between and among Nigeria's people's groups. The traditional institutions shall be strengthened, and traditional, natural, and community leaders will be given definite roles in conflict management and dispute resolution. We shall revert to the old national anthem. Because both in content and essence, it is much more fitting and encompassing of our diversity and burning desire to achieve unity, integration, and progress. We shall redirect and reinvigorate the National Youth Service Corps. By reinvigorating this scheme, by removing corps members from cities and urban centers to the hinterland, making the service community-based, corps members, both male and female, shall also be subjected to a 6-month compulsory military training. And subsequently, most of them will be posted to policing and other law enforcement security-related duties. National security. Achieving our desired goal of a united, progressive, and prosperous Nigeria is largely predicated on the safety and security of our people and the nation. Sadly, our nation is currently under security threats of different kinds and dimensions, which have the capacity of not only derailing our march to prosperity, but threatens our corporate existence as a nation. Our government will place high premium on the urgent need to safeguard and protect the lives and property of citizens with the requisite political will and policies. To this end, we will deploy both kinetic and non-kinetic approaches to urgently address the security concerns in our country, and for the short term, immediate terms, and for the future. Our approach in this direction will lie in identifying the drivers of the various forms of insecurity in the country and taking necessary steps through legislation, policy decisions, programs, projects, dialogues, etc., to address them. We will immediately commence a total overhaul of the entire security architecture in the country to enable us to implement defense and strategic policies capable of addressing emergent security threats and challenges. This overhaul will lead to urgently needed reforms, which previous governments have shied away from. As your Commander-in-Chief, I will be leading these efforts from the front. We will equally undertake a strategic defense and security audit towards understanding the capacity of our security sector in terms of equipment and personnel. Gaps from the audit will enable us and the government to determine the number of personnel required for recruitment and the kind of equipment needed to build a resilient and strong security sector. This audit will also afford us the opportunity to establish how the enormous resources allocated to the defense sector have been utilized over the years. We will equally improve the working and living conditions of Nigerian security personnel, including the police, and ensure that the nation rewards them adequately for the sacrifices they continue to make for our safety and well-being. Also, our reforms will include the establishment of a veteran reserve pool through a legislative framework that enables us draw from the capacity of our retired security personnel. While implementing the foregoing reforms, in order to strengthen Nigerian security establishments for proactive response to security threats of any kind, our government shall invest heavily on non-kinetic approach to address our security challenge. This approach concentrates on the socioeconomic context that nurtures crime and deviant behavior. Thus, we shall address the push factor of widespread poverty, social exclusion, ungoverned space, etc., in order to provide a sustainable respite from the criminal enterprise. The economy and national development. Our economic growth shall be associated with, 1, a consistent rise in GDP and revenue. 2, increase in productivity, which is self-sustaining and irreversible. And 3, rapid structural transformation. We shall guarantee the upward movement of these indicators as the first in the series of interrelated processes to achieve the overreaching goals of national development in Nigeria. Our government will rigorously pursue the following proactive strategies. 1, rethink the ideology that underpins development. 2, diversify the economy. 3, prioritize local content for industrialization. 4, strengthen the economy through massive sectoral interventions for job creation. Let us talk about rethinking the ideological underpinning. Socio-economic transformation under a Zenith Labour Party-led national government shall be anchored on the developmental state model. Our government shall cause a significant shift to our collective ownership and management of the Nigerian economy. This model will reaffirm the primacy of the state as the driver of the development process, with capacity to resolve market failures, capital scarcity, and lack of coordination between the state and the market. Economic diversification. A Zenith Labour Party government shall prioritize diversification and aggressively pursue the objective of harnessing the potentials of the agricultural sector, iron and steel, in order to achieve self-reliance in food production and international competitiveness in the steel industry. Building local content for industrialization. Our government shall commence the process of local content development by leveraging on the creativity of our artisans in our automobile, construction, and allied services industries. We shall transform the artisan parks to the establishment across the country into local content development hubs by creating a synergy between these parks and our universities and research centers in order to convert research innovations into concrete products through design and fabrication of tools and equipment. For the purpose of standardization and quality assurance, exceptional artisans shall be sponsored to centers of excellence in technology abroad to acquire further exposure on machines and equipment design and fabrication. Taxation and income redistribution. The luxurious lifestyle by less than 20% of the population in our country, a country of worsening poverty, has fueled disaffection among the critical mass of the poor. Our government shall employ the instrument of taxation to redistribute income. To this end, my presidency shall take actions on all luxury items ranging from real estate, cars, private jets to golf courses and yachts shall be assessed and taxed accordingly. Job creation. Our government shall create the enabling environment for artisans of various descriptions to practice their trade and co-opt retired senior citizens to provide part-time services in their areas of competence to government. Thus, our path to progress will adopt whole-of-society approach for national transformation in Nigeria. We shall create a well-serviced and secure artisan parks across the country. Our government shall leverage on the resourcefulness and institutional memory of retired senior servants to address the challenges of public policy implementation. The informal sector. The informal sector is unarguable the backbone of a developing economy. We recognize the capacity of the informal sector to generate employment for Nigeria's teeming population. Therefore, our government shall prioritize the enabling environment for small businesses to operate by providing the required infrastructure that support them. Financial sector. Economic development that is irreversible must be underpinned by a vibrant, dependable financial sector. Our financial institutions will be tasked to provide innovation services that will drive these developments. Our blueprint on ICT infrastructure will optimize the role of financial institutions in promoting a digital economy. Thus, our government shall encourage and support the Apex Bank, the central bank, to provide a robust regulatory framework that will expand financial inclusion aimed at accommodating preponderance of the ever-growing informal sector, especially in the rural areas. We shall promote a cashless economy in order to protect the financial system and, by extension, the economy from the uncertainty of the volume of physical cash in circulation. Our government shall take decisive steps to abolish the parallel market in order to protect the naira from vulnerability at the forex market. We shall reintroduce the coins to replace the 100 naira, 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1,000 naira notes. This is aimed at curbing corruption, as the sheer weight of the coin will help to check primitive accumulation. The petroleum sector. Entrenched interests have considerably and consistently frustrated attempts by successive governments to resolve contradictions that have held down the industry from impacting positively on the health of our economy. In this regard, our government shall end the infamous subsidy of the pump price of PMS that promotes the interests of predatory class rather than masses of which it is meant. We shall ensure the full implementation of the Petroleum Industry Governance Law. To this end, our government shall promote a regime of full disclosure in the implementation of the law. Our government shall demonstrate commitment to the enforcement of extant legal regimes on gas flaring as part of public governance for climate action. We shall develop a comparative advantage in liquefied natural gas as a viable source of energy security. Our government shall undertake a comprehensive inventory of the technical gaps that have held down our refineries from operating, to to full capacity and proceed to engage the services of competent indigenous engineers to superintend the upgrade of these refineries. We must get the refineries back to work. Textile industry. We shall inject massive funds and provide other incentives like tax holiday for our textile industries to get back to work and engage a good number of our people in productive employment. As a consequence of the foregoing, our government will review the range of consumable goods under the import provision list to achieve two interrelated objectives, namely, to promote local production and protect the manufacturing industry, encourage the consumption of goods made in Nigeria, while providing a regulatory framework to improve the quality of homemade goods. Sectoral intervention. A Zenith Labour Party-led government will adopt a progressive increase in budgetary provision for education in order to ultimately meet the UNESCO standard of 26% of the national budget for education. In specific terms, we shall promote research and training by funding and developing manpower in our universities and research centers. We shall reverse brain drain through a drastic review of the poor compensation system that has constituted a huge disincentive to excellence in our tertiary institutions. We shall set up the Community School Enrollment Committee across the country with mandate to help keep track of children not in school and ensure that the implementation of 100% school enrollment for children. We shall aggressively promote girl-child education and children with special needs by initiating an executive bill to make girl-child education and children with special needs compulsory, and also to criminalize the practice of street hawking and early child marriage. States in the Federation shall also be encouraged to domesticate this policy. We shall take decisive steps to deliver primary and secondary education free of tuition to all Nigerian children and provide the required municipal facilities for impactful teaching and learning. The ultimate goal of our government is to give education its place of pride, fund education at all levels, and make the services available to all Nigerians. Health. Primary health care delivery shall be the preoccupation of our government. We shall resurrect the Professor Olukoyo Ransom Kuti Public Health Revolution of 1985 that gave primacy to the communities rather than the individuals in healthcare provision. We shall prioritize aggressive development of rural healthcare system by implementing the following: development of primary healthcare by constructing new primary healthcare centers and rehabilitating existing ones in all the wards of the 774 local governments in the country. . We shall aggressively improve the quantum and quality of healthcare personnel in rural communities with a human resource management policy tagged rural posting to allow the rural communities benefit from the services of specialists in the health services. We shall drastically reduce brain drain and promote brain gain by improving the remuneration of healthcare workers and adequately funding healthcare institutions at all levels. This will reverse medical tourism. Agriculture. Agriculture will feature prominently in our drive to industrialize, job creation, poverty reduction, and economic diversification. This will be anchored on our agricultural revolution. Our government, therefore, shall review the Land Use Act to free up arable lands and make them available to farmers. Ensure direct supply of fertilizers to farmers to a highly subsidized rate. Encourage the establishment of agro-processing industry for backward linkage in the rural areas. Through the integrated development plan encapsulated in these documents, we provide the necessary infrastructure for this sector to thrive. Our aggressive rural development plan will address the gap in agro-support infrastructure. Science and technology. Science and technology are pivotal to the economic development of Nigeria. The sector has the capacity to address most of our current challenges, including infrastructure, development, unemployment, insecurity, oil theft, poverty, import dependence, and more. Our government will seek to revive local technology through investment in research and innovations. Review our educational curriculum to provide a synergy between the industry and research in order that research and innovation in the educational system meet the needs of industrial sector. Collaborate with the private sector to ensure that research and innovations are adequately funded. Tourism. Apart from the numerous capital endowments, Nigeria is also blessed with fascinating tourism sites scattered all over the landscape of our country. As part of our economic diversification, our government shall establish a presidential task force to take a census of all tourism sites across the country as the first step in developing a tourism master plan for our nation. We shall provide incentives, both financial and non-financial, to attract local and foreign investment in tourism development. We shall provide funds for the development of infrastructure and municipal facilities around the environment of tourist sites in order to encourage private investment in tourism. We shall ensure that all tourism environments are adequately secured by deploying men and women of the various security agencies to that effect. Infrastructural development, road construction, rehabilitation. Our government will invest heavily in the provision of roads, transport infrastructure needed for economic development and the general well-being of our people. We will ensure the provision of rural roads and the expansion of existing federal roads in order to open up the rural areas to economic activities and link the various states of the country to promote the movement of goods and services. We will improve funding of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, to ensure that it lives up to its mandate. To this end, our government will be paying serious attention to maintenance of roads to avoid complete collapse, as we have become accustomed to. Rail transport network. We shall draw a rail transport system, a master plan for Nigeria, different from the one that only reinforces Nigeria's dependence on foreign expertise and finance. The ultimate aim is to make rail transportation available and affordable for all, and the main conveyor of goods and people. The major thrust of this plan is to link all major cities, especially state capitals and Abuja, by rail, to bring Nigerians back together again, to build trust before you start talking about economy and everything. Because if you don't carry the people along, you're not going to make a headway. It was after that that the other contestants bought into it. At least you hear about 3 of them talking about unifying Nigeria, building trust and all that. I said, good. It's also good that they have accepted that Nigeria is more divided now than ever before. But my fear is that some of them have been part and parcel of that division, and they are not in any position to resolve it. If you listen to me, we talked about the role the national traditional rulers will play. We talked about having a reconciliation committee that will get all these views across with a view to tackling it. You see, Nigerians are the easiest people to govern. All they need is tell them the truth. If you tell Nigerians the truth and they believe you, they will do whatever you ask them to do. But the problem we have had over the years is that we don't tell Nigerians any truth. And government say the truth only when it doesn't matter. That is the problem. When we say we are going to unite and unify the country, we have the master plan. We have told you how we are going to achieve it. It is critical. It is important. We must get back to the old good days, where you don't have to look at anybody where he comes from. We will start it. We will enact it. There must be that trust. By the time we have done that, if you are telling them, look, this economy is bad, we are going to take some steps that will be painful a little bit, but in a short time, you will rejoice. Nigerians will say, Mr. President, go ahead. But we have been lying to our people over the years. Look, for example, I read this morning that there has not been an increase in pump price of petroleum products, particularly petrol. I returned 2 days ago for this event. I bought 400 naira per liter in the southeast on my way, throughout the period. If you go to the north, it's between 200 and above. 300, thank you. So this 180 you are enjoying is only in Abuja and Lagos. So where there is a political will, government will put a stop to it. Because there is no political will, that's why businessmen and women will do what they like. There is no consumer protection. There was a petrol station we bought in a day, it was 380. The next morning we came, it was 400. I said, this will just wake up in the morning and adjust. The government is doing nothing about it. Political will. And unfortunately, some of these, my colleagues who are running for president, they don't have the political will to do certain things because they have been part and parcel of the problem. I cannot be interested in, for example, petroleum products, marketing, and so on and so forth. I have been making money from it, and then you expect me to agree to reduce pump price. Under my leadership, and it is possible, take it to the bank, read my lips, I will sell fuel less than 100 naira. They are talking about subsidy. It's not subsidy. Go and put the refineries working. The only thing God gave us, you cannot refine it. All we know is petrol, diesel, and kerosene. What about the over 15, 20 other byproducts? Nobody talks about them. Their brake fluid, all those things come from the refining. They won't let it work. So these people, check all of them. They are involved in oil and gas. They are involved in energy. They will not let it work. It is me that is not involved in any of those things. I have no encumbrances. I have not done business in the oil sector. I have not done in the power sector. I will use my political will as president, commander-in-chief, get things done without looking at anybody's face. Let my colleagues come and say what I have just said. They cannot say it. On corruption, all I have said now has something to do also with corruption. Subsidy. They share your money. They call it subsidy. It is, we have corruption. Why should we be subsidizing? You cannot refine and maintain your refinery. You are investing in a private refinery. Are you hearing it? That's why Nigerians are so quiet. God puts good heart in them. If what is happening in this country has happened in neighboring countries, they would have been fine. I'm not saying you should put fire. But don't worry, the hour is near. I will wipe away the tears from your eyes. Part of the first step to curb this corruption, both in offices and everywhere, I will abolish paper notes. I will turn all to coins. So by the time they give you 2,000-3,000 bribe, you put in the pocket. As you are going, listen. Your colleague in office say, your pocket they make noise, waiting there. And then getting back into coins, there will be massive production of POS machines in this country. It will create employment. We get that technology, our people will produce it here, and it will be affordable and cheap. So all transactions will be done by transfer. If you are doing heavy transfers, the appropriate government agencies will monitor it. And for those who steal, check all the money you are getting now. They are so dirty and gummy. That's the money they packed 10, 15 years ago. So for those who pack money, they need to build a vault as big as Wuse 2 to be packing coins. That is one good step. For our security agencies, for the police, I will make sure, as president, that the least policeman earns not less than 100,000 naira a month. It's not all. He will have free accommodation and health care for 4 children, and including education. After that, let him go to the road and collect bribe. I will send him to prison. His children will suffer. Do them well. Provide their uniform. They should not buy their uniform. Provide for them. They will not collect bribe. The security problem we have today is because lack of political will. As your commander-in-chief, they say Sambisa Forest is a no-go area. I will go there and smoke them out. It is possible to get them through technology. We will go and smoke them out. By the time you take 1 or 2 actions, their sponsors are dealt with, they will run. But we are not doing anything. Killers are allowed to go free. Those sponsoring terrorism are known, and nothing has happened. It will not happen under my watch. Those are the problems we have. We have problems. When you don't have the political will, things we do, it becomes a banana republic. If you look at that manifesto, it is detailed. Treat police well, equip army, do all these things. Tell them to go. They will not be afraid to die because their children have been taken care of. But today, anything that happens to them, the next day, they throw them out of the barracks. Any other question? Okay. For those presidential candidates who want to sell their assets, one of them said he will sell an NPC. They will sell it to themselves. They have done it before, and our situation worsened. They have succumbed to their inefficiency. Get the refineries back to work. Put modular refineries in each geopolitical zone. This fuel thing will disappear. It's common sense. But you want to sell it to your cronies on that special purpose vehicle. You want to sell it to yourselves. Look at the power they privatize. Look at all our assets they sold. Nothing came to Nigerians. I will not sell any national assets. I will turn them around. I believe that government has a business in government. They believe that government has no business in government. They leave everything to market forces. Even developed democracies like America, they intervene in certain cases. During COVID, you saw how much they pushed out to the citizens. When there is economic downturn, they move money to the sectors for them to grow up, for them to bounce back. So I won't listen to them. They are saying they are coming to take what is left that they did not take before. You should not allow them. Well, you talked about their visit to capital, to countries. I don't know, but I know the voters are in Nigeria. Those with PVC in Nigeria are those I'm dealing with. I'm not dealing with traveling or paying millions to get appointments to be invited at Chatham House. We're not bothered. And I don't think there will be any intervention. Once you, with your PVC, you take a decision to elect the right person, nobody will interfere. The beavers has returned power back to you. It is in your hands. It is not in America. It is not in Asia. It is not in Europe. So I'm not bothered by those visits. Now that we have come, and maybe they will also write me in the next 1 or 2 weeks to come. If I want, I will go. If I don't want, I'll continue with my campaign. So don't be bothered with those visits. They are very critical. We are going to deal with them on an international level. But I don't think, for the purposes of this election, they have a vote. They don't have a vote. The voters are in Nigeria, they are in the rural areas, they are in the farms. These are the people we are interacting with. You are talking of similar manifesto. I don't think our manifesto is similar to anyone. You study it. Visit our website, www.zlp.ng. It's already there. Take your time and go through. You can see that our manifesto is not in pari material with any other documents. What we have done is to recycle what has been in existence. We are talking of something new. For example, I forgot this point when I was talking about United Nigeria. I was talking about even changing the national anthem. if you look at the national anthem, it is the first thing that will get to your heart. Nigeria we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. That is the appropriate anthem for our country. Not arise, O compatriot. Nobody is arising. Nigeria call obey. They are not obeying. I was in national conference in 2014. After arriving at 620 decisions unanimously, as Justice Kutigi, the then chairman, and Professor Kiemi announced the end of the meeting, from nowhere, what did we hear? Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we. That was what ended the conference. They were surprised. There was no meeting. There was no discussion. It came simultaneously. I am not unaware that there was an attack on that anthem because they say it was an independent anthem. But when it is not broken, why amend it? When something is not broken, why do you amend it? Listen to that anthem, it will touch your heart. I was seeing something on the internet. It's not like a national flag. Apart from in the army, where they listen to, they call it bigas, what they call it? This they blow? Be what? Yes. The one they blow at 6 o'clock, wherever you are, you stand. You don't move. Apart from in the army barracks. Check all functions from this night on television as we are singing our national anthem. Even security men, journalists, they remove all of the place.